to see you guys again. I'll be brief. Todd and I and our staffs are super excited to introduce Graham. For all the things that I said last night about him, I'll kind of say him one more time. He's the epitome of what we look for in this culture that we're building here, that Todd wants and we want here. And to lead our draft class, not only lead our draft class, but to lead our team. And we're all depending on that O-line room. So the addition of him to that O-line room is going to help us out tremendously.
Yeah, again, echoing what Jason said, he fits the prototype of what we're looking for, big, fast, and strong. You know, be great competition down there, obviously. And we got a pretty young group down there, and we got a lot more beef in the middle where we can beef up and kind of keep people off the quarterback from coming up the gut. And he's a guy we sought highly coming into the draft, and he kind of came to us, so we were ecstatic to have him.
Yeah, just, excited to be here, ready to get to work, ready to be a Buck and get to know this, locker room and kind of, earn the respect of, my teammates and, just get to work.
What do you make of the comparisons that Jason threw out? I don't know if you heard them last night, but he likened you to Ali Marpet and a little bit of Ryan Jensen, and even said you have a similar personality to Tristan Wirfs. I mean, that's quite the billing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, haven't played a snap in this league yet, so have a lot of work to do to even be half as good as those guys. So, but just excited for the opportunity. Appreciate their belief in me as a player and a person, and excited to like I said, just get to work with these guys and prove them right and prove that they made the right decision and just win some football games and be a part of this culture.
Graham, you spent most of your time at tackle at Duke. When you watch film, do you watch linemen in general? Have you specifically watched more tackles? Which interior offensive lineman have you watched the least? Ali Marpet, one of those guys that you've had the chance to study.
Yeah, I think obviously playing left tackle the last 3 years in college, just trying to keep the main thing. I watched a lot of tackles, obviously trying to do my best at the position I'm at the time. But obviously I played center my true freshman year at Duke, and watched a lot of guys. Watched Ben Jones, someone I've talked to throughout this process. Watched a lot of him. Watched some Joe Thuney, just his base and how he plays. I think someone I've looked up to as far as interior offensive line play. But being a tackle, one of the main guys I studied, especially as I grew into the position at left tackle at Duke, was David Bakhtiari. I just think similar measurables and similar athletic ability, and so I think he was someone I took a lot of influence from. Just getting off the ball quick, getting the landmarks and matching people at different angles, and so I think someone I've at least tried to get some inspiration from, and obviously always looking to find more and more guys to study and watching a lot of different players.
Question for Jason. It would appear, and I don't have the data for this, but that first-round offensive linemen tend to hit a little bit more successfully than other positions. Would you agree with that? And if so, why do you believe that is?
Well, I think a little bit of that is their good ones are really good ones are hard to find. So teams aren't going to give up on them real quick. So we're going to give them every opportunity to make the team and to make an impact for us. But we have a lot of confidence in Graham. I mean, he's just the skill set and then the person, I think, is what we are looking for. So I think we've hit on another one with him. Our scouts were on him, Tony Hardy and Brian McLaughlin, very early in the process. So we had a long time to study and dissect him, and there were very few holes that we could poke in him.
Just take us through your interaction with him in the rec process, when you talked to him, when you had him in, all those kind of things, how that came to kind of reinforce the things you liked when you first saw him. Well,
we talked to him at the Combine. Unfortunately, I was out of that meeting. I was attending to another meeting with, I think, Mike Evans' agent. It's probably a good idea to be that one. And then a few other Zooms that Graham's had with our coaches was really the extent of it. And but some of these players like Graham, that the the sources that we have, the scouts that we have that get the information to us, there's very few questions that we had for him about him as a person. So, because we know what kind of a guy he is.
Todd, I think that Jason, I don't want to misquote you, but I think you mentioned that about halfway through the season last year, you guys had conversations about the interior offensive line and where you needed to get better. What do you think this will do from just a strategic standpoint? What will you be able to do better with an addition like this?
I think it beefs us up on the inside. We haven't had the bulk in there since Marpet left, obviously, and Ryan left, and I forgot Cincinnati. Kappa left, and bringing size in there, getting a little bit over 300, 305, getting a bigger guy, a taller guy with some girth in there, trying to not let people go up the middle as much. I think that'll help us that way.
Graham, you've had a moniker in the O-line room at Duke, the Dirt Devils. Can you talk to me how that started, where that came from? I know you're probably wondering how I know that, but talk to me about how that started, how you got that going.
Yeah, not to take the credit, but it was my idea. We basically, so Adam Cushing was my offensive line coach at Duke my last 2 years, and he would come in every year and say, okay, what's going to be our identity this year? What are we going to build our identity around? Let's come up with a name. Let's come up with a name of our room that we're going to refer to. And, we need, the attitude. We need a little extra toughness. We need some grit. And so everyone's throwing out names and nothing's really sticking. And then I just kind of was like trying to get things that rhyme. And I said Dirt Devils, and everyone booed it, made fun of me because, it's a vacuum. And it's like, so what does that mean? We suck, And so, but, I kept hammering it, kept referring to it at times of at opportunities to make a joke or something. And then it just kind of stuck. And by the end of the year, we all have, us in the quarterback room all have, Dirt Devil T-shirts. But in all seriousness, we just had such a great position room, and that identity was just, it was all about toughness and grit and playing through, hard stuff. And we had guys go in and out of the rotation with injury and just people battling and, finishing every play, finishing through the whistle, playing with violence. That was just who we were at Duke. That's what we decided we were going to play each snap with. And, and then the Dirt Devil name kind of just, encompassed all that. So, a fun identity, but really spoke to who we were as a unit.
Graham, in this era of NILs and transfer portals and all of that, I have to imagine you probably had some opportunities. What was it about Duke that meant so much to you to stay there, get an education there, and maybe even look beyond this group?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think I've always told myself, I'm like I don't play football to make money. That's just a byproduct of working really hard, but I play football because I love football, and I want to continue to chase that success, and Duke was the best situation for me. I loved my head coach, I love my position coach, I love my strength coach, I love my teammates. My best friends are my teammates in that locker room, and coming from Duke, and so there was no reason for me to leave, and there was no amount of money that would have drawn me away. That will come, if you stay true to who you are in your process, and so I that really wasn't a concern for me. I knew I was in the right situation for me as a football player, and so I obviously there was some interest, but I really chose not to entertain it.
You were a public policy major. First, what led you down that path, and then how can having the platform as an NFL player and having that knowledge base, how can that allow you to make an impact on the world around you?
Yeah, I chose, I wouldn't say I chose Duke because of the education piece of it. I think I chose Duke because of the people at that university that I kind of just fell in love with that idea of such a high-achieving university, in athletics, in the classroom, the students, the professors, just, everyone's got a really cool story at Duke, and it's a lot of high-achieving people. And so I think, public policy was just a major I was drawn to through some of those people. I enjoyed it because, you get, you study a lot of different fields just in the context of the public sector. It's economics, it's psychology. It's a lot of business, but you just get a wide range of topics, and so it was a side interest, and I felt like I could handle that and still keep football the priority, and so that was kind of what led me down that path.
Graham, you joined a Bucs team that drafted a fair amount of ACC players last year with Saracier Dennis and Kalijah Cansey from Pitt and Yaya Diaby from Louisville. Just curious if you recall any matchups against them throughout the years, and now your excitement level to be teammates with them.
Yeah, I did play Diaby my sophomore year. My first year at left tackle wasn't super fun. Yeah, he's pretty good, so glad he's on my team. I just think it speaks to the ACC and the amount of talent in that league. It's every week you're playing really talented players, and you got to bring your best every week. And so I think the ACC is definitely a league that is obviously it's an entirely different level here, but definitely got to experience some of that talent level and competition in the ACC.
Jason and Todd, there's different ways you can build a team. Ryan Jensen, a big-time free agent signing. But if you look at the Super Bowl offensive line, 4 of those guys are homegrown, drafted. They came up through your system. Since then, we've Gedeke, Cody Mauch, and now Graham Barton. Is there something different, organic, about building an offensive line through the draft within your system?
I think for me it is, because they're not going to let most great offensive linemen be free agents. They're going to be taken up, and they're going to cost a lot of money, so you're not going to be able to get those. So in order to draft them, our guys do a great job. Jason, Spy, Bill, all the rest of them do a great job of identifying what kind of guys we need and how to get them in here. And they're not necessarily first-rounders all the time, or guys that at least we can groom that fit the traits, and that gives us a chance to kind of build it from within. So I think that's important for us.
I know you just got in the building, so you probably don't have the playbook. Or maybe you do. But what do you know about this scheme and about how you feel like you're going to fit into it?
Yeah, I don't have a playbook. Just got here a few hours ago. But I think more for me, kind of how they alluded to it. It's about fitting the person and finding the right people to mesh together. And you can teach scheme, and you can teach install, and you can coach players, but you can't necessarily change their makeup as a person and who they are. So I think that's step one. And I've gotten met a few guys today, and just excited to grow those relationships, and then allow the coaches to coach me and allow them to fit me into the scheme where they see I can best help, and go from there.
Graham, I assume you got the connection with Ryan Jensen because of the nastiness a little bit on the field that comes out, and you seem so mild-mannered before us today. So where does that switch the switch that gets flipped there, where does that come from? What's your kind of game day cycle?
Yeah, I'm not like, when I'm out there, I'm not angry at anyone. Like I'm still mild-mannered, but it's more about a love for football and a love for offensive line play. It's not that it's anything personal. It's just I want to me it's about making the right block and displacement and violence. That's how the offensive line position should look, and I take a lot of pride in making sure that I'm doing that to my best ability. You can only play this game so long, so it's why waste the snap? Every rep is foot on the gas, and so I think that's kind of why I play with that nastiness and that violence, just because the passion I have for the game and how much I love it and how much I appreciate just the opportunity to do this, and so I think that's more where it comes from.
Coach Bowles, we asked Jason about this last night, but as the draft was unfolding, all those quarterbacks were coming off the board, and then you had some edge rushers there. It was, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as you're seeing, knowing what these teams' needs are with interior offensive linemen, just what was your reaction as it got closer and closer to that 26th pick, and then realizing you would get your pick of interior offensive line?
Obviously, we were a little nervous as the closer we got to it. There were a couple of teams that we thought had certain needs, and they kind of went different directions. And there was a trade or two made before us, and as it kind of got around pick 24, we kind of felt like we had a shot at it, and then it kind of fell into fruition when we got them at 26, so we're extremely happy.
The talk of the first round last night was really Atlanta, a big surprise, getting Michael Penix and Brady. What are your thoughts on being by the Falcons, your division rival?
Doesn't concern me until we play them.
Can you take us back to the moment last night when you got the phone call from the Bucs, and then for Coach and Jason, what it's like to make that phone call?
Yeah. So I'm sitting in the living room. Got some friends and family around, some friends outside, and as the later you get in the draft, the quieter and more tense the room gets. So I decided to go step outside, and some of my buddies were just out there, watching the TV outside and messing around. So I just stood out there, got some fresh air, just wanted to relax and laugh with them for a second, and then all of a sudden I looked down, it says Tampa, Florida, and I ran back inside, sat down, and just took the call, and just the wave of emotions, it kind of comes front and center, just years and years and years of work and dedication. It kind of culminates in that moment, and it was pretty surreal. It's still kind of still setting in. It's been quite the last 24 hours. So just really grateful for just having those people around me, and enjoying that moment with people I really care about.
It was a beautiful video by your mom and dad that Duke put up right after you got drafted. What did that mean to you? How did that make you feel?
Yeah, definitely brings the emotions out. My parents have been there every step of the way. They've taken me to practice, signed me up for every different sport. Pushed me, fed me. Like, it's just they've been a huge part of this process, and I wouldn't be anywhere near here without them. So just to hear them share that message and how proud they are, just special moment for the family for sure.
What are your thoughts on playing with Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, excited. Here he's a great guy and a great leader. So just ready to get to know him and build that relationship, and I'll earn his respect and show him that I'm here to help win and help build this culture, and so I think just earning that respect and starting to build that relationship will be obviously be a big priority for me and for this team.
A lot of the offensive linemen here seem to be pretty high on his playing style, and have even joked that Jason even joked that he's a quarterback, but he's in or I should say he's an offensive lineman, but he's in a different body.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got some moxie. You've seen that going back to his days in college. So just excited. You can see it on TV, just the competitor he is and the natural leader he is. So just excited to be able to be a part of a team with a guy like that at the helm.
Number 62 in college, is that something you're eyeing here when you pick out that number?
Yeah, I mean, obviously like to stay consistent with numbers, and for me at least, to be honest with you, there's no rhyme or reason I had 62. It was at Duke, it was either 62 or 69, so I took 62, and that was kind of, I stuck with it for 4 years, and probably continue with that.
Todd gave him
now.
62 already. So.
Yeah, we got a message for Bucs Nation out there watching this press conference right now. What do you think?
Yeah, just excited to get to work. Excited to contribute to this already winning culture and take that next step. Excited to be able to play in a city like Tampa Bay that football clearly means a lot to a lot of people down here. Just can't say enough about what I've seen so far of Tampa Bay and this organization, and just could not be more excited to be here and a part of this organization.
Thank you. We're going to